Hey everybody, I'm Tommy and you are on The Lifeboat. Roberta, good to see you. Tara Jackson, how are ya? Jeremy Fowler, good to see you. Eileen Weinkamp, how are you? Good to see you. Truth Finder, I'm glad that you're here. It's probably going to be a small one, folks, because we're going to be jumping into the meat of this. There's a lot going on in the Diddyverse. There's a lot of people that are talking, and there's a lot of videos that are getting made, and there's a lot of theories that are coming out. And God bless everybody for their theories. I have nothing against anyone that has a theory, but we're hearing some really wild stuff, and some of these theories can't technically be based in any form of reality, and we probably need to go over some of these. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to any content creators, so you're not going to hear me say any of their names, right? You're not going to hear me pop off, but since most of you watch a lot of other content creators who talk about Diddy, I should imagine you're going to know some of the people that I'm talking about. There's a lot of talk right now about what's happened with Busby, right? Busby is the attorney from, I feel like this is rote. I say this so often, but in case you just found this, Busby is the attorney from Houston that had a press conference and said he was going to be charging about 120 people. Now, obviously, there are not 120 people that have been charged. It's a much smaller number. All of these cases were brought through the Southern District of New York. This presents a problem because Tony Busby is not licensed to practice law in the Southern District of New York. Now, this isn't, I shouldn't say that. He can practice law anywhere, but you have to file each time you go in front of a judge or whatever. You got to show up there and you got to go, hey, here's the deal. We're gonna be practicing in front of you. And, can I get a waiver or can I fill out the papers necessary or whatever the case may be? And sometimes the judges will slap you down and say, no, you're not practicing in my jurisdiction. Doesn't mean you got to bail. This happens every day across the country. There are lawyers who say, all right, I got to go get a local attorney. Yeah, I know that Reese is still alive. Reese's crowd isn't gonna drop to come over here. There's not much danger of that. But I've got a decent amount of stuff that I'm trying to get done, and it's been one of those days, people, like I can't put into words, man. It's been one of the most frustrating days on planet Earth. It really has. It's just been one thing after another. So I wanted to get this thing underway. It happens every day. You hire somebody, they're a surrogate of sorts. They're going to be your representation. They're going to be first chair. They're going to be the attorney. And then you can do all of the stuff that you do, but any of the filings or any of that stuff, they're going to be signing off on by that attorney. And this happens all the time. People are making a big deal of this. And I even saw someone that said, because there was not permission from the Southern District of New York for Busby to practice law there. Well, thank you, Allison Metcalf Palumbo. Because of this, their inability to practice law there, that Diddy is going to have a bunch of stuff dropped against them. And that this man might walk free because of the things that Anthony Busby has done. Now, that's patently absurd. And we talk about this. I understand because we have people all over the world that content creators can kind of clickbait this stuff and make it sound as if, you know what, man, Diddy's going to walk because of the stuff that Busby did. Busby was taking people to civil court to work on things that were past the statutes of limitations. These are things that were time barred. People that said, this man did this to me, but it happened 25 years ago, or it happened 27 years ago, or it happened 35 years ago. They have a law in place in the Southern District of New York that allows people to get a window back so that they can find justice. It's not going to put the person in prison, but you're going to take money from them, and it's going to send a message to other people that, you know what? The person that you're threatening, and they're a child, and you're able to scare them into position, maybe 25 years from now, this person's going to get a little bit more courage. Can't really blame a 13-year-old for being afraid of somebody as powerful as Sean Combs, can you? Or a 9-year-old. Now, are all of the lawsuits against him, absolute fact? I guarantee you a bunch of them are BS. I guarantee it. There's a feeding frenzy going on. And anytime there's a feeding frenzy and people think they can get money for nothing, they're going to show up. That's the way it works. I promise. Now, that said, what do? Do we become the arbiters? Do we go, this young man, this 9-year-old's telling the truth. This 13-year-old over here is lying. This 17-year-old girl, I kind of feel all right about her. I don't know. I'm not going to do that. You guys can if you want. I think what we have to do is stand behind all of these people until we find out otherwise. And we're going to know right now going forward, we're not always going to find out, period. These are really rich people. And really rich people have found over time that they can use their money to make things go away. And if they can make them go away to the point where you don't hear about them, especially if it's something that isn't in the criminal system. If you're from another country and you're listening to what we're saying and you go, I can't believe that they can buy their way out of prison. They can't buy their way out of prison. They can buy the best legal defense in the world, but you can buy your way out of law being outed to the world. If somebody comes forward and says, celebrity C did this to me, and the attorney says, well, celebrity C would like to be paid for what you did to her or him, and you're looking at $5 million, $10 million, or we're going to file this in court with celebrity C's real name in it. This is an industry, by the way. This isn't something that has been invented for Sean Combs. This is called, very often they call these kind of things or these stories catch and kill. They're willing to pay to make the story go away. And the person doesn't even necessarily have to file a lawsuit that they plan on going all the way through with, because these things trash a person's name, don't they? We've talked about how bad people can get trashed and you never hear their reputations being restored. We talk about the Duke Lacrosse guys. There's some fascinating stuff coming out right now about Harvey Weinstein. Candace Owens is doing a deep dive into Harvey Weinstein. Candace Owens is probably the best content creator that is going today. They're really... what she's doing, the kind of things, if I said to you 6 months ago, there's going to be a content creator on YouTube that is going to be trying to prove that Emmanuel Macron's wife is actually a man, you would go, that channel will be out of business in 7 minutes. Gone. They're not going to let anybody talk about that. You know why she can talk about it? Because she's bringing receipts. She brings receipts to everything. And she'll get about 100,000 people in a live chat. This is a person that is making things happen, whether you like her or not. She's picking very, very cool stories. And right now, she's going to deep dive the story of Harvey Weinstein. And she's predicting that we're going to hear a lot of stuff about Weinstein and how he was convicted that's going to make us upset. Preface this by saying, we'll stipulate to the fact that the guy's a dirtbag, right? That he was doing all of these nasty things. However, if they railroaded him on the prosecution, that's frightening. It's always scary when they decide that they're going to change up the laws or the rules or cheat a little bit or do whatever to convict somebody. I don't like Harvey Weinstein, but if they cheated to put him behind bars, that's not a good thing. I know that it's easy to get the lynch mob kind of mentality. It really is. We want to string him up. But if we allow them to go, well, he's so freaking guilty that we're just going to cheat a little bit to make sure he gets convicted, then you're next. I promise. And then we get stuck with who decides how guilty you are. Who's the person that goes, nope, this person's definitely guilty enough to frame up or to make the case look better. When you look at cases like the Casey Anthony trial, or you look at O.J. Simpson, the world got all of the information from that, right? The internet was all over it. They were releasing everything that they had in Casey Anthony, right? All of it. And what did the defense say? She's not going to get a jury that's going to be impartial. There's no chance of that. You know what happened in that, right? O.J. Simpson, all that evidence was out there. How are you going to find a jury that isn't tainted? Well, maybe they were tainted. But it was the defense screaming about it. And again, that person walked. I bring this up because there's a lot of motions going on now. And here's another thing you're going to hear. There are content creators going, why did they wait this long to file motions on this stuff, huh? Maybe because this is the time set for filing motions. Maybe I'm an idiot, but that's kind of what I thought. I thought that even in the schedule and early on when we read it off, it said, this is the time that you will be filing all of those pretrial motions and all of that. But everybody wants to take a story in this thing and run with it. And they want to be the first person to come up with something that, hey, this guy's desperate as hell, right? They're desperate. That's why they're motions to suppress evidence are pro forma. If the person that you're hiring has any amount of money, maybe not a public defender, but if you've hired your attorney, they're going to try to shoot down anything that they found with a search warrant. They have to. They have to. If not, Sean Combs will wait about 5 months and say, I got ineffective counsel. Do you know that my attorney didn't even try to get the evidence suppressed? Everybody's going to do that. If you hear people screaming about how this is a really big deal that he's filing to get the people, do a little research on any case. That's the first thing you're going to do is try to get any evidence you got that you can get thrown out, right? Challenge the warrants, challenge all of that. Because if you can get that, you've probably all heard this. You're all law nerds. The phrase fruit from a tainted tree, right? Or a poisoned tree. If you can shoot a hole in the search warrant, then anything they found is subject. And there is 20 terabytes of information, by the way. Remember how we talked about 100 terabytes of info and those, there's all these different devices that they haven't pulled anything off of yet. And how much does that actually mean? There's 250 full-length movies per terabyte, yada, 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 right? Remember all that stuff? Well, 20 terabytes is the amount of information that have been turned over to the defense. That's the discovery. 20 terabytes of information. Out of the lists of all of those names and everything else, there's going to be about 50 people, apparently, and allegedly, it's going to be about 50 people that they're going to want to talk to. These could be witnesses, they could be victims, they could be both. This is a RICO case. If you've not watched a RICO case, they're different. They're really different. Because they can bring stuff in that they're not charging anybody for. They can do all kinds of pretty rowdy stuff that they normally wouldn't be able to get away with. It enables statutes of limitations to move and the stuff that they can bring in to show prior bad acts. They won't be charging Diddy with this stuff. They'll just be saying, fair or not, well, look, we could show you that there has been a 20-year history of this guy breaking every law known to man. Because what they're going to try to say is, this is a racketeering influenced, right, corrupt organization. This is the purpose of RICO. There's too much going on there, man. There is way too much going on with this entire company, all driving to one thing. What? It's putting this guy in front of people that were victims. I didn't know they were victims yet. We're going to hear, because we've already heard, that they had wranglers, people out looking for victims. So all of you that keep yelling, it's a RICO case with only one person charged, at the 21st of March, they have to hand all that over. They don't want to hand any of it over before then. This is a chess match, right? They don't want to hand any of it over before then, because once they hand it over, now the defense can start going boom, 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 boom. Their biggest fear, if you think about this logically, what has Diddy been doing on this case since it started? Come on, I got a wicked smart audience. That was from my Boston people there. Got a wicked smart audience. Put a deuce in the chat if you understand where I'm going with this. He's been reaching out. He's been trying to taint the witness pool, allegedly, since this thing started. And being in jail allegedly didn't slow that down, right? He's been constantly trying to reach out and influence people. We've heard the stories. 54 times he tried to reach out to somebody in a 24-hour period of time. Allegedly, yeah. When they went in and took pictures of all of the stuff during the raids, you remember the raids that took place? It was like last year, I think it was September, October. They went and did the raids on MDC Brooklyn, and they took pictures of his books. They claimed it was legal stuff. Turns out it really wasn't legal stuff. They wrote legal there afterwards or allegedly or whatever. But you follow me. You see where this is going? This isn't one of those situations, people. Right? This isn't one of those situations where it's being described as a desperation thing to try to get this stuff thrown out. Of course they're going to try to get it thrown out. It's the first thing that anyone is going to do, I promise you. They have to try to get this crap canned because it's devastating to their case. It proves that he's been tampering with witnesses from Jump Street. That's what all this paper and everything else. So if you're the prosecutor, are you really excited to go, all right, here's all the people that are going to be witnesses in this case? Sad but true, you're putting them all in jeopardy, aren't you? The second the world knows who the witness list is, you got to worry about not only the diddler, but maybe the diddler's friends, right? His crew. Because let's be honest, I mean, yeah, he's locked up, but this dude's at one time this guy was worth $1 billion allegedly. Forbes says closer to like 770 million, but it's not chump change. It's the kind of money that can acquire bad people to do bad things. And if the raids on his house are any indicator, he was planning to do bad things. That's why you have alphabet weapons with serial numbers that have been obliterated. And an alphabet, you know what I'm talking about? AR, AK, all of those initial ones that put a large amount of lead downfield fast. They have big, long, extra magazines that hold 30 to 100, depending. Diddy, I believe, got caught with 50 round barrel magazines. You understand? Hold on one second, could you? Terribly sorry. Now bring in the lip readers. Tommy, can Busby reintroduce the 13-year-old case after this new ruling, or was the case dismissed with prejudice? It was dismissed with prejudice. Now, the victim in that would have had to have known and signed off about that. Yeah, this is the truth. The feds were absolutely investigating things in the UK. I do not know what has come of any of that, but those articles were there were many an article that came out in the early days of this, right after Diddy's indictment. They were definitely sending people to investigate in other countries. Now, we know this probably shouldn't be a massive shocker because Diddy traveled the world, right? We know this. He would be at the Cannes Film Festival, or he would be, in Saint-Tropez, big boats. The guy flew all over the world and flew other people around the world. Clifton, the list of names, there's nothing that is leaked in terms of when anybody will find anything out on that. So we don't know yet whether or not that's going to come true. There have been promises made. A lot of people have high hopes for it. I'd like to believe that may be the case. This is a hard thing to chase down too. Layla Bradley asks a great question. What percentage of the victims have already been paid off? Can the feds follow the money to other victims? Here's the thing. They probably don't want to. Because again, we're talking about criminal cases and we're talking about civil cases. And the feds deal with only the criminal aspects of this. So any kind of settling that is being done by Busby or any other attorneys don't affect Diddy's prosecution. They affect his wallet. So I think it's probably pretty safe to assume that because in his first press conference, he said, we're looking at 120 of these cases. Well, obviously that hasn't come to fruition or anything even close to it. So I think a lot of people assume that there are tons of people that are getting settled with. Do you understand what I'm saying? So was the girl in the Jay-Z and Diddy case actually lying then? Well, we're never going to know, are we? We're never going to know. But here's some things to, just one thing, right? We don't even have to go down a whole rabbit hole. How about just one thing? There was, at the start of this, a story that went like this. At the VMAs, this girl's trying to get in. She talks to a limo driver. The limo driver says, you're just what Diddy's looking for. She goes to an after party. She's given a drink. She's asked to sign a non-disclosure agreement. And then she is assaulted by Sean Combs, allegedly, and two celebrities, Celebrity A and Celebrity B. Now, you would assume, because this is how it works, that Busby goes to celebrity A and B and says, you want to settle this? You want to go to mediation? Or do we file it and the world knows who you are? That may sound like blackmail to you, but what other option do you have if you're an attorney? You're trying to save your client the embarrassment and the trauma of having to go and relive this in court. Your job is to get her the biggest paycheck or him the biggest paycheck you can. So he mails out the letter, emails it, calls, whatever he does, and Jay-Z says, I ain't giving you a penny. Right? You ambulance chasing piece of vermin, trash, whatever. Okay. What did celebrity B do then? How come we never found out celebrity B's name? Logic would dictate that celebrity B paid. And then logic would say, man, unless it was a really small amount of money, why would celebrity B pay if it wasn't true? Now, sometimes they will. Sometimes it's easier to throw out $5 million than have your reputation trashed. And if you're a billionaire, maybe you do that. We don't know who celebrity B was, and we never will. And for that reason, we also don't know if this 13-year-old girl was happy about her case being dismissed. This was a girl that said, I'll take a polygraph test, whatever you want to do. We don't know if she got paid off. We don't. It doesn't smell right, in my opinion, but off topic. Got my protein balls today. Woohoo! The only flavor they had. Hope they're not ending them. No, they shouldn't be. They shouldn't be. What cases take precedence, the civil or the criminal? Great question. Criminal. Criminal is always going to take precedent over the civil stuff. Voldemort, Jay-Z settling with a 13-year-old. Wouldn't that open the floodgates of others abused to sue? Yeah, right? If the world knew that you settled. But what did we hear? We heard, my client did not pay this girl 1 red cent. That's what Spyro said. His client, Voldemort, paid that woman not 1 red cent. Now, she dropped the case against Diddy as well. Does that mean that maybe Diddy's camp paid? Did they do something else? There are a lot of ways to get people cash, right? The point of this, people, nothing's been debunked, bro. You can go out and say that this person theorized this. The people that you're talking about that are doing the debunking are saying that Diddy's about to get his case tossed out because of everything that Busby did, right? Okay, Busby isn't taking anybody to jail. Busby is trying to get paid. That's all that is. We're talking about two very different things. You understand? It's not threatening the case against Diddy. That is complete and utter BS. Bottom line, it is. And if you listen to people that they're trying to sell this as a really big deal, the headlines of, hey, they're filing all of these motions of desperation. I'll tell you what, they're going to turn this into the race card. They're going to try to make this entire case about the fact that this is a lynching of a rich black man. They're not hiding it. That's going to be the defense. And first, they're challenging the Mann Act, as that's one of the 3 charges. And the Mann Act, make no mistake, is racist as the day is long. I think they got a really good shot of going in there and shooting down at least the Mann Act. If historically, his team is right. Historically, they're not going to be able to drag a lot of cases of white people that have been prosecuted with this. Traditionally, this has been something that people, this has been a weapon to take care of black people. Sadly, that's the truth. And I think that they're going to successfully challenge that. The rest of it is going to be dicey. You probably know that Cassie Ventura just announced that she is pregnant. That's kind of fascinating. This is obviously with her new husband, and she's happy, and that's great. But it's going to mean that if this thing is on schedule at all or close to it, she's going to be taking the witness stand pregnant. And you want to talk about sympathy, folks. They'll show a video of this mother who's with child, and you'll see the video of her getting smacked down. That's got to be a bummer if you're the Diddy camp. She's going to be a devastating witness if she's going in there. If she's going in there pregnant. And by the way, I'm not saying that Voldemort paid this off. What I'm saying is he had a rule violation in that he could have just left there. If what everyone is saying is true, this man's a hack, right? You could have got him disbarred, and they're not happy. They're not happy that he dragged his feet trying to go in and getting the surrogate. But everything that people are blowing up, dude, he's not allowed to practice law there. This isn't a big deal. It's not. It sounds like the guy's getting disbarred, and the way that people are making these videos, right? Oh no, he's a bum. The guy can't practice there. He could go get any lawyer out of the yellow pages to be his surrogate and sit there and bring all of his cases through him. This is done all the time. If you're going to practice in another jurisdiction, you grab another attorney. He becomes co-chair. The two of you sit there. This isn't a rarity. It's not odd. It makes for a better thumbnail. And Diddy's attorney quitting, the verbiage in Diddy's attorney quitting is odd. It is. It's odd. But attorneys quit constantly. And if you go back and look at when they hired him, their own camp was saying, we hired him because he's excellent at appeals. He's got a lot of experience. He did a lot of death penalty stuff, but he's really good with appeals. And he was getting ready to go to the Second Circuit Court of Appeals to deal with Diddy's, what do you call it? His bail. Of course, he never got bail. No, sorry, we're not. Do the federal court systems ever change the rules for televising court procedure? No way in hell. They're very, very serious about leaving it kind of old and classic and all of that, man. Isn't it true we really don't have any real proof that Diddy is actually in jail? People are saying he has not served 1 day in jail. I hope that's not true. The freak needs to be locked up. My question would be to everybody, who would be the person in jail right now instead of Diddy? Help me out. I mean, I'm not going to bag on anybody. Open discussion. If it's not Diddy in MDC Brooklyn sitting in that cell, who is it? How did they get a lookalike that looked that much like Diddy, right? Get him all tattooed out. Keep it in mind, Diddy thought he was going to bail out, folks. Diddy thought he was going to bail out. And honestly, how do you reward the person that says, I'll take Diddy's life. I'm going to go to prison for Sean Combs as a weirdo kid toucher. The worst paperwork you could have in prison. And I'm going to go spend the rest of my life locked up, getting beat on, getting treated bad, getting, picked on. What do you pay that person? Especially considering that man can't spend the money you're giving to him. Now, maybe he's willing to fall on the sword for his family. There's a logical thought. Make it for a good script in a movie, wouldn't it? He's going to go in there and he's going to take the hit for Diddy for $100 million to give to his family. Now, there's some trouble with this. One being that the number of people that are looking at every penny that Diddy has, right? Everybody in his family, getting the money to that person and doing all of that without getting looked at. It starts getting absolutely beyond the point where it passes the smell test. I know a lot of people also will say, hey, it's a clone. Clones don't grow at a different rate than whatever you clone. So if you clone a puppy, it takes the same amount of time for that puppy to grow into a dog as anybody else. So if Diddy got cloned, I mean, he's been rich how long? We're going to have to wait for the Diddy clone to get to that 54-year-old mark, or maybe you could use him when he's in his 40s. This seems like a lot of real prior planning that I'm just not going to be able to accept. To me, that doesn't seem to pass the smell test. But you want to get some people to look at your video? Put up a thumbnail that says, that's not Diddy in MDC Brooklyn, and you're going to get a lot of people to look at it. Or put one up that says, Busby destroys entire case against Diddy. That'll get you a lot of people to look at you. Right? None of these things are real. And when people say, this was debunked, you mean you saw a video on it. Okay, when you see a video that someone makes, whether it's me or anybody else, right? The idea is these videos are supposed to get you thinking. Then you go out and you got to actually chase the stuff down. You remember the great video of Justin Bieber, right? Performing a sex act on Odell Beckham Jr. You guys have seen this, right? It didn't happen. It didn't. And it didn't take a whole lot of deep diving to figure out that it didn't. The thing was filmed from multiple angles, and if you go and chase it down and you look at it, what you're going to find is there's this much room between the two guys. It's an optical illusion. It's like this, right? You can't tell how far the hands are apart kind of thing. Think he's right in the guy's crotch, and then you get sideways and find out it's not even close, right? Wolfie says, why do you think that RICO withdrew and Mark Agnifilo didn't? Because Mark Agnifilo was the person that was hired to actually try this case, right? RICO wasn't. This guy was hired because they were trying to get Diddy out of jail. They didn't give a crap about this trial. They wanted to get Diddy out of jail so badly that they were forgetting everything else and concentrating on that and that only. They were taking this all the way to the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. They were ready to go. They were going to get this man out because he was being oppressed. And then that pesky crap about him reaching out and trying to influence all the people on the witness list, and they withdrew that appeal because they knew what the judges were going to say. Are you kidding? We're going to put this man on the street? He's using 8 different people's PAC numbers to try to either bribe or intimidate or threaten witnesses already. What the hell would he do if he wasn't locked up? Right? Allegedly, that's what was going on. So we don't know why RICO stepped down. Look, he could have heard something that made him sick. He could find out that one of the alleged victims, because now we're talking about numbers that are astronomical. Maybe he knows somebody. Maybe there's a family member. There are so many reasons why somebody could leave. Now, the wording is different, man. The wording is a little bit different. And it sounds like he says he can't in clean conscience, right? And that's what everybody keeps quoting, is that he said, I can't in clean conscience go forward and defend this man, right? But what he really says is, after talking to Agnifilo, I can't in good conscience. That's actually, I read it a bunch of times. Whatever conversation he had with Agnifilo, maybe Agnifilo knows what's coming down in the superseding indictments that we very well may be seeing in the next couple of weeks. Maybe that's it. Maybe the superseding indictments are so disgusting he wants no part of it. Or maybe he's one of those attorneys that doesn't want to know whether or not you did it. And maybe he heard graphic details of some of the stuff that actually happened. Maybe he heard Sean Combs cop to it, right? Who knows? The one thing I will say is this. When I first heard it, I theorized that, hey, you never know. Maybe it's somebody looking for a book. I didn't realize who it was. This guy he's a no joke. He represented Osama bin Laden, right? This guy's represented, he's been part of massive, massive cases. Sammy the Bull, right? He's a big deal. And he is a by-the-book attorney. He said, sorry for the brevity of my filing. This is so small because I'm not going to say anything that's going to trample on the rights of my client. Keeping in mind, they also had history. Allegedly, Diddy had hired this man, who was it, G-Dep? He hired this guy to represent G-Dep. And that went through the bad boy crew. So maybe Diddy knew him. Maybe there was already some blood there. No, I know you weren't trying to be. But here's what you got to remember. See, this is one of those things that I hear all the time. And you have to have been to prison to understand this. So I'm going to try to say it again. The person that would be taking his place is walking into hell. And there's no amount of money on earth that will get a man to spend the rest of his life in hell. If you said to him, you got to spend 20 years in hell, and then you get this $50 million. A guy might go, I'll do it. It'd be like going to med school or whatever. I'll survive this, and when I get out, This isn't a get out situation. The person that's going in here is going to be spending the rest of his life inside, being treated really badly. People trying to extort him and all of the other stuff that comes with being a rich person with this kind of paperwork. I wasn't trying to be a smart ass back to you. I'm just saying that in order to pull that off, you would have to compensate somebody. And the first time they were in a cell and about 20 guys pushed up on him and said, hey, let's do to this dude what he was doing to everyone else out there. I have a feeling the guy would go, hey, guess what? My last name is Smith. I'm kidding. Seriously, I got paid for this. I ain't even him, bro. Seriously. Guard, hitting that buzzer. People tell on each other, right? All the time. Family members telling each other. There's not an amount of money in the world that would get somebody to go to prison for somebody else. I know that's hard for people to wrap their brain around because you think, well, if you had a gazillion dollars isn't worth anything if you're not free. If you gave the man $500 million, he could only spend $360 a month. It's the maximum you could spend in there. I mean, yeah, you could get some money sent in to buy dope or whatever, but nah. I promise you that's the diddler in there, right? I promise you it is. Walking into death, not hell. That is what Diddy himself earned. Yeah, no question, Sir Tedrick. I agree with you 100% on that. You know, I absolutely agree with you. That's what that man has earned. He's not a good person. I think we can all agree to that, right? Like Weinstein, not a good person. I do hope we're doing everything right. I hope we're not breaking rules because they're so damn guilty that we need to help them into prison. They don't need any help. It's what we did with OJ and the guy walked. I hope we're doing everything right. It makes me nervous. It really does. And here's the thing. It makes me nervous because I took for granted that Weinstein, of course, was guilty of every single thing that they accused him of. The guy's a lowlife. Everybody knew he was a lowlife. They were all talking about it. Sound a little like Diddy? But now we've got some people that are doing some research. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what this year unfolds. Can't wait to see who's testifying against Diddy. Well, I think we could probably go out on a limb and figure a couple of them for sure. But you're meaning who turned? Yeah, the Fed's favorite thing in the entire world is to take somebody and turn them. Right? Take somebody that had a homeboy and a partner. They were in on this together, and you turn one against the other. They've been doing this, I promise, from about the very beginning. I hope you're right, Joe Mama, but you know something? Playing the full, journalist, we're not sure that it was ethics. Right? That sounds good. When he says, I can't do this in clean conscience, right? It sounds like ethically he just couldn't do this. But it could be for other reasons. That it's a very bizarre thing, and we're going to be doing a lot of this. This is where this gets dicey too. If a person has a theory, you can't shoot down a person's theory. It doesn't make them a bad person for having a theory. You can't shoot someone down for that. That's bad form, right? You want people to have theories. You want people weighing in on this. But when it's disingenuous, because I promise you people, I could sit here and I could come up with some really bizarre theories that don't make any sense. And then I could come on and try to peddle them as something that I believe in, because those are clickbaity. You say the right thing, but I'm not going to come on here and tell you there's a decent chance that he's going to walk because of what Busby did. It's not going to happen. And I'm not going to come on here and tell you that because this attorney's gone, this proves that their entire defense is in serious trouble. And they've been fighting the whole time. And all of the things that people are saying, no. I mean, we don't know any of that. Really, all we know, right? All we know right now is that this guy doesn't want to represent him anymore, which happens so often. It was crazy. See, there's a theory. He was at a party. There have been people that have said this. That's a theory that people are bantying about, that maybe this guy's in a photo somewhere. Now, there's nothing to back that up, but it's a lot better thumbnail than mine. Okay? That's why we don't have 1,000 people here right now. If I had come on and told you guys that his attorney quitting means that he's going to walk, boy, we'd had a lot of people here. And then in a couple of days, I could come back and say, yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. Or just don't answer it at all. You see a lot of people that do that. But I'd like to try to keep this thing as real as I can. Do I think that there are people afraid to testify? Absolutely. I would be. Wouldn't you? If the allegations are true, even the allegations in the indictment that the people who would be testifying know about, right? He went out and had a guy's car blown up, allegedly, right? They know about that. They know that this dude's done some pretty crazy stuff. Some of the allegations were just because a woman said, I don't want to meet the guy. I think he might have something to do with the Tupac stuff. Yeah, I would imagine a lot of people are afraid of this guy. You don't get to do the kind of terrible things that he did for as long as he did it, right? I agree with you, wait for it. I agree with you. I think that people can come back from damn near anything. I think that people can come back from damn near anything. I've watched criminals turn their lives around. Now, there's some science that will tell you that there are people with bad wiring and there are people that all the therapy in the world isn't going to fix. And I'll be real honest with you. I think that Sean Combs may fall into that list. But I'm not, I'm doing armchair quarterback stuff in a big way. I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist. I'm a convict. I just hope it doesn't stop at just Diddy, like the Epstein fiasco. Everybody involved should have to go down as well. Justice needs to be complete and absolute. Yes, and justice delayed is justice denied. The poor women that were being trafficked to politicians and to powerful businessmen, right, who magically disappeared and not one of them's been listed. I really hope it doesn't stop at Diddy as well. But I have a feeling that we're going to be seeing a pretty wild 225. It's going to be, look, I know that this woman is a politically divisive figure, but the work that Candace Owens has done on the last 4 or 5 stories that she covers, I'm sorry, there's just very few people doing research like this person is doing. And the one thing she's promising about the investigation she's about to open about Weinstein is that, number one, it's going to shock all of us. And number two, we're going to realize just how effed up Hollywood is when she's done. And all of this lines up with what I've been saying. This is the end of Hollywood. And it has to be. Because it's not just an industry, right? It isn't. It's a group of people that live like royalty and abuse people systematically and ritualistically, and it's something that kind of has to come to an end, man. Still confused about all the tapes they found and the fact that Celebrity B was never named. So she may have paid. It actually happened allegedly. Well, look, if we never heard Celebrity B's name, it would lead you to believe that Celebrity B paid. That's kind of logic. It's not wild extrapolation. Both A and B, right, conceivably got the exact same call. You want to pay for this? No, because in 2 weeks we're going to file. You don't? Okay, they file. We still see B. We don't see a name. That would lead me to believe that B paid. And if B paid, there was probably a reason for the fact that B paid. Maybe something happened in there. Now, was A Sean Carter? Well, we're not going to know, are we? Because they're doing a hell of a job of keeping all of this really, really locked down. However, all the people that said, hey, he, of course they didn't cut a deal. He filed a $100 million lawsuit against him. Okay, yeah. When it gets settled or when they actually go into court and start talking, that would be a little bit more evidence, because these rich folks file lawsuits all the time for appearance purposes. I'm not kidding. And if you're made of money, why wouldn't you? Right? That's what just happened with Blake Lively. They weren't really thinking they were going to have to go to court. They were just hoping to rattle some cages. It turns out they got the receipt keeper screwed up really big on that number. But something very weird happened there. And then as an attorney to go, all right, I have to withdraw, right? And I'm going to screw this client over. They can never, ever go anywhere and file this again, not with me or any other attorney. That's bold. That's bold. Why would that client say, okay, I'll sign off on it? The cynics among you will say, because she knows she's a liar, brah. Okay, maybe. Or maybe because she's rich. Maybe the money she got from Celebrity B was in the millions. Maybe that was enough and she said, screw it, I'm out of here. I don't want to go any further than this. Celebrity B's enough. I'm going to be living pretty good. Who knows? We don't. The people that tell you they do, they don't. All I'm saying is, just because they're coming out and saying, we didn't, my client didn't pay him 1 red cent. Okay. All right. Who took care of Shine Barrow when he got out of prison for the nightclub incident? Because the guy got a crap load of money. But I'm sure that Diddy could swear on a stack of Bibles that he never paid that man 1 red cent. No, it was a record deal, right? L.A. Reid gave him a big old record deal. And I'm sure it was just because L.A. Reid's a good dude. He probably wasn't spreading a little money around. And we all know that L.A. Reid's tight with Diddy, right? He's the one that set up that Flava camp where he sent down a boy toy for him. Allegedly, he sent down Usher when Usher was a baby. Was he 13 or 14 or something? It's hard to tell because in one of those videos where he's there with Kevin Hart, he said that he was 10 When my boy here was 10 and I was a little older, I don't think he was ever there at 10, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. We don't know what happened, and we're never going to know what happened. And that's just kind of the way it goes. Honestly, unless somebody involved breaks ranks and says, here's how the deal went down, then we're not going to know. And we can all just sort of come up with theories. But people go, you know, the lawyer wouldn't let him trash. The lawyer's going to take what, 40%, maybe 45% of the settlement? What if, instead of everybody's theory that, you know, they knew this girl was just completely full of crap, what if it was something completely different? What if they went in there and went, no, we can prove this, man. Check this out. Like a smoking gun for Busby. And they said, you know, what are you trying to get? She wants 50. Well, how can we protect my client so that the world doesn't hear about this? Well, you could pay 100. And you know what? For 50 million, call me whatever you want. Call me a bad lawyer. Go file some paperwork this place on me. Do whatever you're going to do. I got my client 50. I got 50. I'm not saying this happened. But how easy would it be for it to happen? Right? If you are Voldemort, your biggest thing isn't, oh God, I got to pay him. It's, if I pay him, how are people going to not know I did? Because I don't want the world knowing that happened. Absolutely, I'm going to cover anything related to Epstein. If they release it, I will be doing it here, I promise you. I've done a lot of shows on Epstein. Epstein was one of the reasons that I wanted to do true crime. It was listening to the story of how he was on, we're 45 minutes in, screw it. He was on suicide watch, right? He was sitting there. If that were the case, there are protocols that would have been followed. I know what those protocols are because I happen to be one of the people who, I did, but I can double back to it. I happened to sit there. I know exactly what the protocol is. If he was on that, there would have been eyes on him 24 hours a day. Literally. Nobody goes to the bathroom. You have eyes on him 24 hours a day. There's a camera in the cell, all these things. What's not in the cell is bunk beds, sheets, shirts, jumpsuits, all the things we saw in the photo of his cell when they said he was on the watch and he unalived himself. He wasn't on the watch. They don't have metal doors on the watch. You sit in front of a door that's got a big old piece of glass in front of it so that they can look directly through. They don't want you to be able to hide anywhere. Pam, that could be the case. What if the girl was a setup to make Busby look bad? That definitely could be it, couldn't it? Well, then if you were going against Busby and you had filed a motion with the court saying that this guy had violated a Rule 11, meaning that he brought something to the court he knew was BS, that kind of violation can get a guy disbarred. Why do you think they decided to drop that against Busby? Doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? Honestly. Then you're going to run and sue him for the same thing in a different state. Why not disbar him right there? You're trying to show him, right? Odd. I think it's all odd, but that's my humble opinion. What do I know? What do I know? We talked about Busby in the beginning. To be sure, a lot of people are trashing Busby. A lot of people are trashing Busby, and there's a lot of people really freaking out about it. Now, the guy was going to file 120 cases. What have we seen? 38, something like that? Does that mean that he settled 70 or 80 of them? If so, he's laughing all the way to the bank. He didn't care what you're calling him. I have a feeling a lot of these people settled. I have a feeling there was a lot of names in this. Go back and watch the press conference he did the very first day. If he was bluffing, he was real damn good at it. You know? Didn't the dropout lawyer represent the two guards who were on guard that night? I don't know the answer to that, but the two guards that were on that night, they were in court, sentenced, got their community service and all that, and all of it was done within about 6 months. Good luck finding any of them. No joke. They got a really funny way of disappearing when people cut great deals like that. Sorry. Wow. If you ever come across that, send it to me. I'd like to read that. That's frightening, isn't it? But jury nullification, if the jury wants to send a message for any reason, they will. It's not a good thing, but it is a thing. I forgot about a network, played a documentary and an interview with two jurors on camera. Knew OJ was guilty, but they said The not guilty was payback because of Rodney King and what the cops did. And you know something? This is one of the things that that gets frightening about a legal system like the one that we have, because depending on the environment that we're in, I feel horrible for George Floyd, right? But if we keep it real, the amount of fentanyl that George Floyd had in his body would have killed me. And I'm a junkie, right? I was a stone cold fiend. And what he had in his body would have taken me off of the planet. If in any other circumstance, those cops should have been prosecuted. But the trial was, I mean, there was no point in having it. There wasn't a chance of anything happening. And because of our legal system and how it is set up, Derek Chauvin, the guy that was convicted, if they find out tomorrow that it wasn't even Derek Chauvin that did it, if it wasn't his knee on there, this guy has already exhausted all of his abilities for appeal. You find something new out, he's living in hell. That guy's gonna, it's a tough situation. And he's already been stabbed a couple of times in there, right? And on a yard that had 80 people on it. I used to be on that yard. It's built for 1,300. They got 89 people on it and they can't protect him. That's a bad sign. You know what, Bailey? I'm not smart enough on this kind of stuff. Bailey asks, can Ramir have a court-ordered DNA test? I am the wrong person to ask about that kind of stuff. The stuff that I talk about here, usually I have some perspective, having been through that part of the legal system or whatever. That is not a part of the legal system, knock on wood, that I have ever had to deal with. Never had anyone out there claiming that it was me. Hold on one second.
You get your attention?
No, sorry, I was knocking on wood. Do I know anything about Kanye being accused of SA? Absolutely. There are several allegations against the man that are out there, and this is really hard. This is a hard situation because it's getting to the point, and this is the worst possible thing that could have happened, right? The worst. But we're getting to the point where no one is freaked out anymore. No one seems to be even talking about them or taking them seriously. There are so many lawsuits coming in against so many people that it's like, new one against Kanye. Diddy, 2 more people filed against Diddy. We're becoming numb. There are a lot of these that I didn't read because they're gratuitous. I mean, honestly, they're the same story over and over again, but it's horrible not to cover it. But you start feeling like, I don't want to be the vulture. I really don't. I don't want to come on here and get a bunch of money off of all of the people that this dude, allegedly hurt. It's very easy to start becoming a vulture kind of a platform, and I want as opposed to just flexing on all of that crap. What I would really like to sort of focus on is what is the positive that can come. In all honesty, like how can we make sure that this all ends? Congratulations. I absolutely love that. Make sure you're talking to your doctor all the way. And if you have to treat pain, there's nothing wrong with treating pain. But I'm all for taking the smallest amount of whatever you have to treat it with. That's usually a good thing. I think Kanye West suffers from some mental issues. I absolutely do. But I think he makes these decisions. I think he knows just how controversial this is going to be. I think this is how he stays relevant, because inside of everything else that he does in his life, the relevancy is over. He was part of the Kardashian clan. Can you imagine how many cameras you had in your face 24/7? I mean, you can't take a dump around the Kardashians if someone's not filming it, right? This is the inmates don't often send out photos of themselves, especially in the feds. They get caught instantly. There are cops that do nothing but look for this kind of stuff. In the feds, they have these little boxes that look like there's PVC pipes coming out of them. They go up and down quietly with no keys so they don't jingle. looking to see if people are using cell phones. If Casper was here, he could tell you they find them quick in the feds. But even if there was a phone in there, Diddy doesn't want pictures of him coming out. I promise you he doesn't. And these guys, when you hear that there are cell phones, a guy takes a cell phone like this and breaks it up small enough that he can insert it in his rectum. So you're not talking about people surfing the web and doing the same kind of things. Yes, they can look at things. Usually they're smaller phones. It's kind of nasty. But no, there are no leaked photos of Diddy so far. Diddy is, he's in a part of the prison that's harder to, he's in a protective custody unit. And yeah, I'm not surprised that we haven't seen those. I really am not. I'm not surprised that hasn't come out. But I am not for 1 second concerned about whether or not the P. Diddy is actually in MDC Brooklyn. But we will watch and wait. If nobody shows up for the court date on Cinco de Mayo, then we'll know that everyone was right and I was wrong. Maria, I love to hear that. I really do. You did the heavy lifting, but I'm glad that the boat could be here to support you through that. I think that's awesome. I really do. That's fantastic. Missy Elliott's been pretty quiet through all this, hasn't she? He had a lot of people. The A$AP Rocky thing. Getting off when there was actually video of him with a pew-pew in his hand. He's confirmed special hand shaker. I don't know. I will just say this. By way of full disclosure, I did not spend a lot of time on the A$AP Rocky case. I just didn't. There were several other cases I chose to go down the rabbit hole of. But when it was all said and done, I went back to watch like greatest hits. And all I can tell you is that A$AP Rocky, their star witness, was so damn bad, I'm shocked that they decided to move forward. I really am. Their witness was so bad that I'm blown away that they moved forward. A starter gun. Oh, yeah, because I'll tell you what, man. If you knew how many stone cold gangsters I knew that carried starter pistols, because they didn't want to actually hurt somebody. And they were never afraid that somebody was going to pull a real one out, right? And they were going to have the starter. It's the dumbest thing I ever heard in my life. Honestly, absolutely too funny. Yeah, he did have a great attorney. And let's be honest. Thank you, Maria. And let's be honest. You can buy justice. You can buy justice. You got enough money, you can. But you got to have a little something to work with. They had a really crappy witness. The case was shaky. It wasn't as solid, and they're not, they weren't as hot and bothered to really go after it either. Relly was a train wreck on the stand. He absolutely was. Oh, no, Diddy has not figured out squat. No, the proof of that is this. Diddy got in there, and instead of slowing his roll, when he wanted to get other people's phones, if Diddy had walked around and talked to one or two convicts and went up and said to him, "Hey, you done any time in the Fed system?" "Nah, man, my first time coming through. Done a lot of state time." "Okay, thanks." Go up to the next guy. "You done any time in the Fed system?" "Yeah, this is my third rip." "Okay, with these pack numbers, man, if I buy somebody's pack number, is there any chance they're going to find out it's me?" The convict would have gone, yeah, it's going to take them about 8 minutes. They're going to know it's you. They don't even have to look. It cross-references what numbers are on your list, what numbers are on other people's lists. So if you're making a call from someone else's list to an approved person on you, they flag it instantly. No, he hasn't figured the system out. In fact, everybody went, it's not really that big a deal. You remember all the pundits? And I said to you, you got no idea how big a deal this is. And they said, it's not a big deal. It happens every single day. They were letting him continue to talk for a reason. They were allowing him to continue to talk because he was burying himself. He was incriminating himself. He was showing what they had been saying. This isn't a guy you can let out on bail. Look what the hell he's doing. And look how fast bail went. Remember, it was all we could talk about. And the pundits kept saying, hey, they're gonna let him out. Remember? The judge wouldn't be asking these kind of questions if they weren't planning on getting him out. I'm assuming he'll be out by Monday. And I came here and went, there ain't no way he's going anywhere. I promise you, he's not going anywhere. I promise you that's him inside there. He should have talked to me, honestly. If you got a relative that's getting ready to go to the joint, they really should reach out and get a person that's done time. There are actually people that do this for a living. They're consultants. They'll talk to the family if someone's getting ready to go in, so you could tell them exactly what they're going to be expecting, how to keep their head down and not get in trouble. But as of now, that fool has not figured out anything. Can't stay out of his own way. Could Diddy trial get delayed because of RICO quitting? No, absolutely not. If by some chance it was going to, that day Mark Agnifilo would have said, Your Honor, this leaves us in a horrible position. We're going to need more time. As of this moment, at this moment in time, they want the fastest trial they can get. They think they're trying to make the prosecution look bad, because the prosecution isn't going to turn stuff over until the 21st of March. And then they're just going to have April, right? A week in March, all of April, and, in 4 days in May. We're looking at it. They're not going to have a lot of time for them to get rolling. Yeah, he needs to pair up with an attorney licensed in the Southern District of New York. He was licensed in the Eastern District, or he had permission to practice law in the Eastern District. He didn't bother getting it in the Southern District. Meek Mill has been quiet. Yeah, something to that. Hold on 1 second. Good night, Bailey. Sorry. So here's the deal on this one. It's a great question. Tommy, is there a way to request a ticket to observe Diddy trial, or do you have to join the line? Well, here's what I've been told on this, because I've been doing a lot of research, because as promised, I'm going to take you guys to the Diddy trial. Sean Puffy Combs is not going to get prosecuted without Tommy Scoville being there, so that I can come out every day and tell you guys exactly what happened, what he looked like, that kind of stuff. If you've rode with me this long, I assume you'll ride with me when I'm out there. And we've been picking out the tour bus that I will be living on when all this is going on. So we are putting all of this together right now. Pretty excited about it, honestly. But no, you can't get a ticket. You got to show up every day and you got to wait. However, there's going to be an overflow setup. And believe it or not, the overflow setup has screens in it, like television screens. So they are filming in there. They're just not letting it out. They'll let it to the overflow room so more people can see it, which will be cool. And then the second that the court is over, I will be sitting in my office, because we're wiring up the entire thing for sound. It will be a rolling mobile unit. And we will be touring the U.S. And then there are some other cases we're going to be doing. I want to be there for Stephen Stearns to be sure. And by the time I'm done bringing you guys all up to speed on the Stephen Stearns and Jennifer Soto case, you're going to want me to be there. I'm excited about it, Bailey. I think it's a very cool opportunity for the lifeboat. I think it makes sense for what we need to do. My understanding is you do not need tickets for the overflow, but it's going to be first come, first serve. So it's going to be you showing up there really, really late. If Epstein was locked up, why the conspiracy thing about the Diddy double? Well, there are people that don't believe that was Epstein in there too. There's a lot of people that are going to stick with this. No, you just got to get there early. There's a lot of people that are going to believe that. But hold on. Alice Johnson is the president's prison pardon czar. Can you contact her about Q? It's funny that you should say that. We have I'm just going to say this. I will have some news coming up. Keep praying for my man, but I've got some news that is coming up. I have made some really serious inroads toward what I believe to be a resolution in the case of Q. I promise you, he will sit here one day and I will introduce him in person. That day is coming. I promise you. I'm not going to stop until that happens. But I am moving in the right direction with all of that. I really am. Will Smith said he has nothing to do with Diddy, even though they're passing young boys around. Pam, there's a lot of truth to that. And I think a lot of people assume he is going to be charged next. Angelina, thank you so much. It's a great question. It really is. And I appreciate you caring, and I appreciate the support for the channel. You know what, people? There are some days where what we do is so much fun. And then there are days where what we do makes you just want to blow an O-ring. A lot of folks think Epstein is alive. Maybe why Mar-a-Lago was raided. Just throwing that out there. I really, really would be surprised if he had been at Mar-a-Lago. But the history of him in Mar-a-Lago was actually he was thrown out of there by the president for doing some, not the president at the time, just him at the time. But there's you can actually go and look up some paperwork on that. Yes, I am going to go to the trial of those guards, Mr. Brooks in New York, depending on when it is. Yeah, I would like to be there, certainly for some of it. That's an important one to me. I think they'll delay so Cassie has her baby. A heavily pregnant Cassie giving evidence will be quite impactful. I think that there's going to be, I don't think they're going to be able to pull this off. I don't think they're going to be able to pull this off. I think that once the prosecution hands over everything on the 21st of March, they're going to be overwhelmed with everything that they've got to do to prepare a case. I think we're going to see Agnifilo walk into the court and say, Your Honor, we need more time. And they're going to piss and moan about it. They're really going to scream about it. But we shall see. I think it's going to be very interesting. I'm not sure if you can imagine just how far this is going, and how fast it's going. You got any idea how quickly we're going to be there? I mean, unless this all goes sideways, we're looking at Cinco de Mayo, folks. This is right around the corner, man. Right around the corner. Thank you, V. McWilliams. V. McWilliams says 424 people watching, 202 likes. Please smash the like button. And do me a favor, people. I don't say this enough because I'm just not a YouTuber. I'm not. I'm a guy that comes on and talks. I should be more of one. But do me a favor and hit subscribe. It's greatly appreciated. It's kind of my report card. You know, I come back 4 or 5 days in a row and it hasn't moved, and I start thinking to myself, you know, I'm not any good at this. So if you dig what I do, please hit the subscribe button and then hit the thumbs up. Helps the algorithm push us out a little bit farther, and that's kind of a big deal because when I'm not talking about these low lives, I'm talking about living your best life, and we have been fairly effective in actually helping an awful lot of people. It's probably what I'm most proud of on this planet, to be honest. So Cinco de Mayo is a bust. Not yet. No, as of right now, they are still planning to start the voir dire process, right? The part where they start to pick a jury. That should be happening on Cinco de Mayo. So, hey, Jimmy Zimzam. Glad to have you. Diddy video evidence can't be defended. Well, a lot of the stuff, yeah, how do you defend against video evidence? Well, the first thing you do is you try to get it thrown out. They're going to fight like hell to try to get that tape suppressed. They're going to try to fight like hell. They're doing it right now. They've already filed to try to get rid of all the evidence that they seized during the raids. Why didn't they do this 7 months ago? Well, because that really wasn't the time when you file your pretrial motions, like motion to suppress and motions to do all of that stuff. This is kind of when that happens. But it sounds a lot better if you can say that this is a desperation move, that they waited this long, and that it's find a couple of people that you can trust. You know, who's a good one? Honest. You're really hard pressed to find anybody as good as Emily D. Baker. If Emily's talking about it, you can pretty much take it to the bank. Pretty sharp woman. I don't know that she's weighed in on this yet. Probably a stupid advertisement for her if she hasn't, but she will. If she hasn't weighed in on it, she will, I promise. Diddy should have just said, it wasn't me. Right? Are you like Shaggy? It wasn't me. This long last minute, Teeny, you've talked me into it. You're right. I should be leaving. All right, people. Motion to suppress right after one of the attorneys quits. That reeks of desperation. Well, this is the time when you file for motions to suppress, and the attorney quitting. This was not an attorney that was ever going to be really doing any kind of representation in this trial. He was acquired by their own words back in the day because he was going to help them get Diddy out on bail. That's all they cared about. If you've been with me a while, you remember when everyone was freaking out, he's going to get out, he's going to get out. It's all they cared about. And I did a show on RICO. I told you his history, and I said they brought this guy in. One shot, they're bringing in the best of the best, and this is just to handle that. So him leaving isn't really going to affect the trial. Just isn't. You're going to see, by the way, you're going to see a crap load of other new, all of the motions that you're going to see filed in the next little bit. It's going to be crazy because this is the time that they do that. So you're going to see a lot of them. I promise. I promise. Which Emily are we loving? Emily D. Baker. Yeah, no question, right? Freaked me out for a sec. I used to have a friend named Emily. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate you. What happened to the guy that is inside and accusing Diddy? You're talking about, yes, he is from the Michigan area. His case has been dropped. He files a lot of frivolous lawsuits, and it's kind of looking like that may have been the case with that man. But we'll see. I'm sure he's not done filing, right? He's going to probably keep that going. All right, people. Tangerine Tulip, thank you for being here. Christine, glad you're here. Giovanni's Pikachu, thank you. Jonathan Oddie, no, it wasn't Jonathan Oddie. It was the other guy. Darn it. What was his name? Somebody help me. Somebody help me. Hold on, people. Hold on. Derek Lee Cardello Smith. How's that? I got it before you guys did. Cardello Smith was an inmate. He's also been convicted of SA, R-word, and kidnapping. All kinds of really ugly crimes. Yeah, he's not getting any traction with his. At first, they ruled against Diddy in absentia because he didn't show up for the very first one, and they gave like a $50 million settlement, default settlement. Then it was figured out that the guy was kind of full of crap, and since then, that's been the only win for Diddy. The Cardello Smith lawsuit has been tossed out. All right, people. On that note, I think I'm going to go eat something. And maybe do something about the pain in my back. I will be back tomorrow, people. I'm sorry. I had plans on getting some more stuff done today, but I got a little sidetracked. All right, people. Between now and the next time I see you, do me a favor and reach out and try to save somebody and smack that damn subscribe button for me, would you? All right, people. Bye-bye.